Hear ye, and welcome to the Royal Geek Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Rollison, also known as T-Roll, and tonight I am joined by my very good friends. First of all, we have Justin Sandoval, a.k.a. Sandy. We also have Anthony Amato, who we like to call Shamato. Boys, here we are to review a freaking sick movie, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning,
yes,
Part 1
Yes.
of 2.
of two, yeah.
Oh, that we
Maybe
know of.
we know of. Yeah, it might be 3. You never know.
Ooh, yeah.
We'll see.
I'm imagining of 2. But anyways, yeah, here to review it. But before, obviously, we do that, I like to ask you guys, how the heck are y'all?
Dude, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a fun weekend, man. I'm just gonna hang out with the kids. So fun time.
Can be super busy for me, but yeah.
And then you're going to go watch Mission Impossible again,
I
Justin?
am. I'm
Yes.
actually watching it again. So why would it not be fun?
was that
right?
good.
It was so good. Spoilers, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely spoilers for sure.
You don't have to listen to the rest of the pod because
it was amazing.
We just said it was amazing.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of everyone who is listening, big shout out to all of our listeners, all of our fans, all of our faithful followers. We really appreciate you. Glad you're listening, and just want to remind you to please subscribe to the podcast wherever you're tuning in. Also, follow us on social media at Royal Geek Pod. Leave us a review. All these things really help us out tremendously. So, big shout out to everybody who is tuning in. All right, y'all want to get into this movie?
let's do it.
So here's your spoiler warning. If you haven't watched Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, go and do it. Here's your spoiler warning.
Go into it. Yeah.
Movie was intense,
Yeah.
amazing.
Do we want to start with the actual movie theater experience that we had?
We have to.
Yeah.
We have to.
Break it down for us.
Yeah,
Sandy.
so weeks before, probably a month before the movie came out, tickets went on sale, and I was like, guys, I kind of feel like we need to do something big here because these movies have been incredible. The last couple movies, it's been insane. And I was like, we can either do an IMAX typical experience, or we can get a little creative here and do like a 4DX or RPX or ScreenX or one of the X's. Okay. And we settled on 40X. In case you guys don't know,
There's a lot of people who don't. Explain what this is.
So 40X. So obviously, you know what 3D is, right? Like 3D is just visually coming out of the screen, that kind of stuff, right? But
40, you go into the screen.
yeah, yeah. Basically, right? No, 40X is you have an immersion experience. So
Yeah.
like if the seats move first off, and you can.
And not just a little bit.
Yeah, no, not just a little bit.
No,
and
like a ton.
water, like if there's a water scene, you're getting sprayed with water. If there's like smoke or fog or anything to do with mist and stuff, like you have that kind of experience. And smells. There's smells involved as well. So
The smells were crazy.
it was weird. It was.
They're burning rubber in the car. You can smell it.
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. But it was absolutely an epic experience. It was
phenomenal.
a movie while riding a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It really was. Like there were so many scenes in this movie that were, I feel like, elevated because of.
It's funny you say
the
roller
experience
coaster
of
because
the
when we
seat.
walk in, we go to our row and they're in the seats are basically in batches of 4.
Yes,
just
yes,
kind of
they
like a roller coaster car, and it looked obviously it didn't look like a roller coaster because there wasn't a track, but the seats themselves. I even made the joke like they look like there should be seat belts.
Right, yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
they look like there's a harness that
Yeah.
you're supposed to put on. You know,
Yeah, and sometimes
and we probably should have
we
put on a
probably
harness.
should have, to be honest with you. But sometimes in the movies, I sit in the back row, and if there's no one sitting in front of you, you put your feet up, right? But
was none of
because
that.
of the roller coaster experience, you wanted to keep your feet in
in the car
harnessed
at
in
all
whatever
times.
the footrest was.
And I couldn't even reach the seats in front of me actually.
yeah,
there's
we
so
had
much
a
room.
lot of leg room. But if you
I'm
guys
going
have
back,
not,
dude. I'm
if you
going
guys
back.
have not experienced a 40X movie, I recommend it for sure. Action movies are intense.
Yes. I
there's
would
so
definitely
much-
say if
yeah.
you have a chance to watch an action movie in
Yeah,
it, it's a good choice. A good choice.
Shamato, I think it was after we dropped you off. We were talking about what other movies to watch it in, and we said Godzilla.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, that'd be super cool.
would
Yeah,
be,
yeah. Godzilla would be really cool. Some weird one for when you were bringing something up, the idea of watching The Mist would be.
Oh yeah,
it would be
yeah.
kinda-
You'd watch the whole theater in a haze. That's like the whole movie.
like the idea of
That's good.
that would be a very interesting
funny.
thing.
Yeah, but obviously, it was all of our first time experiencing the 40X
Yes.
experience.
Yeah.
But I would definitely go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, like even if you haven't seen this movie and you're somehow listening, which is cool, but even if you haven't seen it, most people know about the motorcycle stunt. that he does.
Yeah.
So even that scene, he's driving off, and as he's driving, our seats are shaking as he's going on this like rocky road.
Mm-hmm.
He goes off the ramp, and as he's driving towards the ramp, he goes off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
As he's driving towards it, you're feeling wind blowing
in your
on
face.
you.
Yeah.
And then when he goes off, the seats tilt forward. They
Yeah,
stop
you're looking-
shaking.
yeah, you're looking
it
straight
looks
down.
like you're looking
Yeah.
down with it, and you're feeling wind hitting your face.
Yeah.
Just like it is for him.
Yeah.
And then when he pulls the parachute,
Something jabs you in the back.
yeah, you just
Yeah.
it slings you back
Yeah.
really hard. That was the biggest spot of the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it like you felt the parachute.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yes.
Fun experience. I highly recommend
We
it.
basically became Tom Cruise.
I mean,
Yeah.
essentially,
I mean-
I'll say this right now. We were 3 hours away from actually meeting Tom Cruise because
Yep.
he was at the 7 o'clock
Exact
premiere
theater.
at the exact same theater. So
Yep.
Yeah.
that's what's wild. Tom
Isn't that
Cruise
crazy?
was in the building where we were at 3 hours.
Tom
before.
Cruise was
Yes,
in
he was.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
We were at the Atlantic station.
Mm-hmm.
There's like only one place to do 40X in Georgia, I think.
I
we
think
know of.
yeah, potentially, yeah.
Maybe,
You're right.
maybe one other, but it was Tom Cruise was there. We were joking about like, what if Tom Cruise like showed up
Yeah.
here? Sure enough, a few hours later, we learned he was literally in that
Yeah.
theater.
Yeah.
So we
He-
just missed him.
Yeah, him and director McQuarrie
Yeah.
were there just 3 hours before us. So
Yeah.
pretty epic, pretty cool. I'm glad we had that experience.
I wonder the picture that we saw.
It wasn't the 40X experience. It was like,
No. But no, it was not. But it was. Remember when our movie started? They had a little clip of the two of them just saying, "Hey, thanks for
did
watching
they
our
just
movie."
record that?
They're wearing the same stuff.
They were
I
wearing the
think,
exact same
Yeah.
I
stuff.
think they might have recorded that for Atlanta.
Possibly.
They really might have.
Yep.
Interesting.
That would have been cool. I wonder if like they recorded that like just outside of that room, or maybe it was live when they did it and they recorded it and then they like walked out like
Interesting.
like out from behind like the screen to
That'd be
to
cool.
be like, hey,
by the way, we're here.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Tom Cruise. Yeah.
yeah. If you don't know who I am, the 5 people in the world who don't know,
If
who
you don't
Tom
know who I
Cruise
am,
is.
just pay attention to this movie. You'll
Yeah.
soon see.
He's only the biggest movie star in the world. So
Yes, certainly. All right, well, let's talk about the freaking movie itself, huh?
yeah.
Get me jazzed up, Sandy.
Yeah, well, listen, I've been thinking about this movie. We saw this on Tuesday, all right?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah,
recording here
yeah.
on Friday, and I have not stopped thinking about this movie. Like, the biggest thing that stands out to me is that this is probably one of the most tight-knit storylines in a Mission Impossible movie
Yeah.
I've seen in a long time. Like, every scene as it progresses, it not only, like, builds onto the story,
Moves
but,
the
like,
story
it moves the
forward.
story forward. It grips you, and the action is there to push the story along. It's not
Yeah.
there to take your attention away of like the cool big explosion stuff. Like
Right.
the action scenes happening are because the story is moving in that direction. Like
Yeah.
it was very well done.
And I actually think it's because of who the antagonist in the movie was, and I think it was a purposeful move by the director to make it very much like that, because it is, as we know, spoiler alert, the antagonist in this movie is an AI system, artificial intelligence of some sort. And I think that's part of the reason why they did it like that, is they wanted you to kind of feel like as you were going through how how calculated the AI was about how people were going to react, how things were going to go. And I think that's kind of how the movie played out in general.
Yeah, I agree. It was a very fun ride.
Man, the AI stuff was madness.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna like the AI stuff when it started like unveiling itself, but then as it more went along, I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm on board with this. Like, because I mean, why not? This is bound to happen nowadays, right?
I think it was also partially because although it was AI, we never actually really interact with the AI specifically.
Right.
It's all by proxy through Gabriel and through other entities that you're seeing it. So it was kind of, you're seeing it through this lens. So it wasn't just this AI system just talking to you at some point. Because I was kind of thinking at some point when they get to the club, I felt like the party. In Venice, right?
Yeah.
I felt like they were going to go in that direction. I felt like we were going to all
Like
of a
an
sudden
Ultron moment where now
yeah.
you hear his voice.
Yeah, where you just like, because they had it like that, like spiral sphere looking thing in the background. I felt like they were going to like, they were finally kind of reveal it, and they were going to start talking and like but they didn't do that.
A few moments later, they did that though when he takes over the his
Yes,
comms.
yes.
Yeah.
That, I felt like that was like it wasn't done in like the sense of it wasn't done in like the sense of like directly talking to you. You're having a conversation with an AI. It was specifically done to deceive them in this moment.
True. And while that scene was cool when the entity, I like that it doesn't have a name. And this thing, it doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons it doesn't have a name is because of what I'm about to say. Like, it never has that like coming out moment.
Yeah.
Like it never has that moment where it like announces itself with its own unique voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it talks to talks to Ethan.
Yeah.
Like through using Benji's voice.
Yeah.
And distorting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have its own like identity in terms of like a voice, and I do kind of like that.
Yeah.
But it's real quick. But like a lot of times AI things in movies, they almost always have their own face or voice because they want to humanize it.
Right.
Yeah.
And in this movie, they didn't even try.
Yeah.
They didn't attempt that at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
And maybe they will in part 2, but they didn't yet.
But I think that's why they had the character of Gabriel. But it was also, I think it was all the positives of, and I know T-Roll, you don't really get into this genre, but all the positives of a horror movie, in the sense of one of the most scary part about a horror movie monster is generally before the reveal. Like it's about like what is this thing? Like what is the real entity that is happening? In this situation, lots of times when you pull the cover off, the actual creature that you end up seeing does not fulfill the entire purpose of being continually scary, continually this. Once you know its true motives and things like that, it becomes too realistic in a way. It makes it too real when it is nebulous and kind of like ambiguous.
Yeah.
It is more terrifying because part of it is you're running your own mind to it.
Right.
Right.
So your own thoughts are driving all this. So I think it did the good job of
Keeping it going.
kind of keeping it vague in its form.
Yeah, I mean, we nowadays in society, AI is starting to take over. Like we have Chat GPT where it can write entire essays and stuff for you, or I just got an update on my phone where I have AI texting where it'll compile all of my last several texts and start responding for me. Like this is a thing that's happening right now, and so for this to be the entity, for it to actually like be a thing, I mean, this could very well happen or be happening right now as we speak. And Ethan, he's out there right now.
Maybe. That's another conversation. you
Yeah.
know? Conspiracy theorists over here, but that's okay. The truth is, AI stuff has always been a big thing within movies, and right from the jump, like we're on this Russian submarine.
Oh yeah.
At the start of the movie, and they're talking to us, or they're explaining this AI.
Yeah.
You see this special key right at the jump, which is cool. They come together. So this key, which is a 2-piece key, is the only way to access, this AI's
Original source code, I
Yeah,
believe.
there you go.
So with this key, you could destroy it. I don't know how someone could control it. Because
I think they
people keep
can-
talking about
yeah.
that, and I'm like, the Russians thought they controlled it.
Yeah, but then they had an imaginary submarine that they had to.
Yeah.
That was a cool scene. It kind of just
was
introduced
really
the entity
cool.
because they were trying to fire at this submarine that was within range,
Because
but
they thought they were undetectable, so they were like, how is someone detecting us?
But then it never existed. It never was there because
a
the
ghost.
entity was making that happen.
the
And
entity wanted to fire at that to have it come back around.
to draw an audience in, like that was a really great first scene.
Yeah.
Like it really kind of set the tone.
And then they all
which
dead.
I will throw this out as like a side note. I love it when a movie like if you notice the opening scene in the Russian submarine, they're speaking in Russian, and then like the camera kind of turns like a perspective, and they're speaking Russian, and it transitions into English, and so us as the audience are hearing them in English, but we, because of that cool transition, we're led to believe that they are still speaking Russian. I love it when they do languages like that in movies.
Yeah.
Like it works out so well.
Instead of just having to keep reading
Right.
captions.
Yeah, instead of continuing, I'm fine. Trust me. You're talking about one of the biggest anime fans in the world right now. I love subtitles. Okay.
Yeah.
But for the general audience, like Tom Cruise is like, you know what? Yeah, let's make sure that we reach everybody. And so they start off with the Russian, and then the transition, and they continue to speak, and it transitions to English.
Yeah.
And I thought that's always anytime they do that well, it works.
Yeah.
So I'm down.
Yeah. But yeah, getting back to, I feel like it's the idea of everybody has this fool's errand of thinking that they can control this AI. And I think the very first scene is literally the director telling the audience how stupid the rest of these governments are. Is kind of what he's doing. What he's doing. He's like, he's literally showing you how when you think you control it, you really don't control anything. So I felt like it was a really good way of showing us in a pretty relatively short, well done action, scene, like the hubris of man, and kind of setting up, you understanding why Ethan is right in this situation of the AI needs to be destroyed, not just corralled.
Yeah.
Right.
And how about that? Like you mentioned, one of the first scenes after the submarine, where actually no, you kind of skipped that. That was the third scene, but the second scene was the desert scene where Ilsa, he's trying to get Ilsa again. But then we'll come back to that in a second. But I want to touch on with the director, where they're all in the office, right? All the bigwigs they're all in the office. And
debriefing.
they're debriefing. Carrie Ells, which was great to see him.
Yes,
I did not expect that. But then we also get the one of the sand snakes from Game of Thrones, the mother, right?
Yes.
We get her in there, but just the fact, the power that they're talking of in that room about who can control what.
Yeah.
Like that's the room that everybody, I think, would love to be a fly on the wall with, like the world's powers, the world's defenses, just talking. And then you in the background you have what we learned to be Tom Cruise's character, just in disguise, listening to this whole entire conversation, just waiting for his moment to kind of reveal himself.
Yeah.
Like imagine being that person there, like listening to. We're making a power play to be the ultimate power in the whole
arms
like,
race.
Yeah, it's an arm. Like there's just that whole scene it was very powerful, and the fact that Tom Cruise came out on top, like Ethan Hunt came out on top on that scene, because he was the one who accepted the mission that is impossible, and that he's going to go track down these keys. Which, side note here, I'm going to throw out. Anytime they say the IMF out loud, the Impossible Mission Force.
Yeah, so
I'm like,
so ridiculous.
Come on, guys, we got to change the name of that.
Dun, dun, dun,
They just need to say IMF. They do not need to say the whole thing.
Never say it out loud ever.
You know what it would have been better?
No.
What would have been better is when I think it's the Secretary of Defense, when he's like, "What is the IMF?" Is if Kittredge, if he would have been like, it's best not to.
Yes, that would have been much
something
better.
like that.
Or if he had said it,
I wasn't around for the naming of this thing.
Right.
Or if he had said it, and then the other being like, really?
Yeah.
That's the name?
That's the best we
that
can come
exists.
up with.
But the fact that the director of defense, like Carrie Ells' character, he was like, "What is this? You're telling me that I'm the director of whatever, and I don't have clearance for this? Is that what you're telling me?"
Yeah.
And like tells you how big of a deal these
Off the books
this
is.
is incredible.
That scene is definitely the setting the stakes scene for the entire, because it takes it from this, okay, it's just maybe there's only two sides. It's the United States and Russia that are looking for this. And they expand it to, it's not just the United States and Russia. It is literally every world power.
Everyone,
And they even drop down to like every world power and minor world power is looking for this.
Yeah, that's true, man. Gosh, it was such a great scene.
Yeah.
But like I said, this scene before that where the Ilsa's in the desert, that's a fun opening scene right there. I want to point out you see like the bounty hunters riding on the horseback, and Tom Cruise laying down with his horse.
Yes.
And then just like follows them like it was nothing in the sandstorm. Visually, that scene right there was top tier. Like visually, like the sand blowing everywhere, breaking in and trying to get to Ilsa before they do. it was just wild,
intense.
off the
Yeah.
wall, off the wall.
Great action.
Yeah, and they kind of throw us for a little curveball there, and like making the thing that she died right away, and and immediately I was like, if they kill this character off, Rebecca Ferguson's character off right here, right now, with off screen, like pretty much, I'll be really upset. But then it came back. It came back.
Yeah.
Okay, I would have been. I didn't think at all that's what happened. Just because of the way they did it. I think if they had shown her getting
her
shot,
face is down,
or
Yeah.
in like something like that, I would have been like, okay, yeah, maybe. But she was like, she had her back turned. It was very obvious she was playing possum at that moment. Although I do have some like mental blocks in my head with the Rebecca Ferguson character.
Oh yeah, you're still holding a grudge against Greatest Showman, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
like 100%. Like I still have issues with that, with her in that role.
Yeah, just destroying the Michelle Williams and Hugh Jackman connection.
Yes,
yeah, I know. Anyway, side note, that's just movie buffs over here.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Sorry, T-Roll.
Well, the truth is, like, this movie is long.
It is 2 hours and 43 minutes long.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go again tomorrow. So
yeah.
Well, I think at this
good
point
for you
today. Anyway,
and we're not gonna be able to cover everything. To be honest with you, we've already been going for like 20 minutes, but I'm trying to think. Let's just, truth be told, the action, the questioning, the wondering, like the espionage, the spycraft, all of it was just it's impeccable.
Top tier.
This is one of the. I'm trying to think like. It's not like it might not be the greatest straight up action movie ever, right? But in terms of like espionage, like spy kind of stuff, it might be one of the best movies in that kind of genre ever.
I think you might be right as far as the spy genre / like
the twists,
government.
turns.
Yeah, it's definitely number one. Action movie, 2023. It's coming in number 2 because John McFork exists. But
right, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's other movies that are just. This isn't just pure action.
No.
Like the John Wick series
But
is
I
literally...
feel like the story that they have created here with Mission Impossible, it adds elements to the action.
Yes, and the way, and I'm skipping way ahead.
Yeah,
because
feel free. Yeah,
so Haley Atwell's character Grace,
dude,
awesome.
Great addition.
Yes.
Great addition.
I will say they did a phenomenal job integrating every single new character. Pretty much,
I think so too.
Like I felt like they did a great job.
So
but
she steals the whole entire movie.
But inside the story, I'm going to make a comment like Luther, Benji, and Ethan, when they basically convince her to join, like that whole scene where they're giving her a chance.
Yeah.
I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that really created the stakes for her that they have all had to wrestle with and do. You know?
Great point, because what they're explaining to her and what they are telling her, it's basically them, like what they had to deal with when they came in, and it's kind of a reminder to us, the fans, on why they're here. How they got here and why are they supporting each other so much. And the cherry on top for me was Ethan at the end of that conversation being like, whatever you do, like I will protect you with every
Your life
being
will
in my
always
body.
mean more than mine.
Yes, and that pays off in like dividends with the Luther and Benji, because now they are in the exact same mindset, because they will ride or die for each other no matter what. And them telling that to Grace, it's true. It's 100% true.
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not, it is true.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think especially because she had been, she wasn't sure who to believe. Like
She didn't trust anybody all the way through the whole entire.
Like she was told things by Gabriel and other people that she couldn't trust Ethan. Which, you're being tossed into this thing. How do you really know who is who is telling the truth, who is actually able to do.
But to be honest with you, after the car chase scene, she should have trusted Ethan.
Yeah,
after
that's
that,
true. She locked him up in that train.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
the very end of the car, we get away safely, and you lock me up in this freaking train.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah. But yeah, like and it really was. It was a phenomenal scene to like, because we're 7 movies deep.
Yeah,
it is hard to remember back to movie 1 and where they were at that point, because even then they were
1996
ahead of,
or whatever.
They were even then they were ahead of where she is technically, because they were already a part of the IMF
right
at that point. But so it's just hard to remember that, like, how long ago and where they were at that point. It was a great way of. It was just a really good scene of, like, just re-showing you, okay, this is what is actually doing. This is why they do this, and so it was great in that. And it was. There was a bunch of other, like, really cool little things they did. I love the team of agents that were kind of always just kind of like trailing
The U.S. agents,
both sides. They're simultaneously trailing both Gabriel's Gabriel / the White Widow. White Widow and the IMF team.
Yeah.
Like, they were just kind of just following along.
It's funny because, like, Ethan's team and everybody else did all the work, and then, like, the Americans would just, like, hang off their coattails and, like, kind of just be there because they're following them, not because they're figuring it out, but just because they're following them. Like, that's
right.
Oh my gosh, I sometimes I can't stand those kind of things, but these two characters that were introduced, the two agents, I enjoyed what they brought to the screen, which I mean, like I said. I'm going to see it again tomorrow, so I'm going to pay more attention to, like, kind of them. Yeah, kind of what they're doing.
I will say, with the Briggs character, who was the older of the two guys, I was really surprised that he didn't end up being, like, either a turncoat.
Ethan? Oh, okay.
Or no, the Briggs I was expecting to either be a turncoat, like he was gonna end up being a villain, or he was gonna do something really, really stupid that would get Ethan and his team in trouble. That's kind of what I was expecting. Those were the two things I was expecting from him. Now the other guy, I think his name was Degas.
Okay.
And he was really fun because he was kind of like this.
He was kind of the audience, like he was the representation for the
exactly.
audience. Yeah.
That's kind of what I was trying to get at. Was like he's kind of the audience. He was kind of like kind of the outside. He was like,
correct.
He was like, why are we doing this? Like he had just all these like weird things. He had these really funny just looks. Like you'd have these looks that just were like,
great looking.
What is going on? Like what is going on right now in this situation that we are doing?
Yeah.
So he was he was pretty awesome in his role, and you know, as he was seeing this, and it's going to be interesting to see where. I would also love to see what connection Briggs has with Ethan Hunt. Like, even if it's just from like an outside, like has he been there in other missions?
Well, he mentioned in this. What do you know about Ethan Hunt? He's like just reputation only. So he doesn't have any interaction with, but he is familiar with what Ethan Hunt brings to the table. So
but he mentioned that there was something personal. He mentioned something
personal.
personal. Yeah.
Well, I think he said it was personal at this point because they eluded him in the airport. I think that's what they were getting.
No,
at.
this is
before the airport?
I don't think he ever said it was personal. I think he specifically disputed that it was personal. But Degas was like, it's not personal, but it's personal. Like I think he said something like that.
Okay.
Like he was kind of like pushing back on that idea. Like, I think Briggs specifically says it's not personal.
Okay.
But Degas kind of like looks through his BS and is like, it's not personal, but it's personal. Type of thing. So I feel like I feel like even though he said it's reputation only, I feel like there's a little something there. Like there was a mission that Briggs was supposed to be either, maybe Briggs was supposed to be on a mission and Ethan Hunt got chosen for it instead, or you know, maybe there was a mission that Briggs was on, or somebody that Briggs was after, and Ethan interfered with it in some way or messed with it in some way. So I kind of feel like that's kind of the feeling that I get from Briggs.
Not sure.
Yeah. I feel like we need to talk about like the newcomer standouts. Like for example, Palm's character from Guardians of the Galaxy. We know Mantis, right?
Palm may have been my favorite character in the entire movie.
I think you might be right. I think I'm with you. It's between Palm and Haley Atwell for me.
Yeah.
The two MCU.
Yeah.
The two MCU actors. But Paris was her name. She spoke French the entire movie. And she only had like maybe a paragraph of lines, but her presence was felt. It really was. She caught your attention in every scene. Whether it was just the fact that her hair was like crazy blonde, or what she was wearing, like sometimes like the random skirt, like it threw me for a loop because she had these like crazy army boots and this like schoolgirl skirt on, and like you're like, wait a minute, what? She's beating Tom Cruise up, like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So she kind of reminded me of. Like, kind of had this sort of the same kind of feel of, like, Azula from The Last Airbender.
Oh, whoa, yeah.
Like, that kind of, like, at least up until towards the end. like before she made her kind of like switch. I felt like she just had this like unnecessary like joy and destruction that I felt like fit into
Yeah, a
like the
little chaos,
Azula
yeah.
theme.
Yeah.
She was constantly smiling as she was like crushing stuff in her Hummer or that SUV.
Yeah,
that
it
she
brought her
was
joy
driving.
that
Yes.
she couldn't easily catch
Yes.
Ethan Hunt. Like that was
Yeah, and she was just like she just seemed so joyful in the chase and the hunt and the destruction that she was bringing upon the world.
And she has one of the cooler fight scenes in the movie in the very skinny alleyway
Yes.
where her and another henchman are trying to take down Ethan.
Yeah, like I wouldn't fit in
Yeah.
that thing.
No, oh, I know. Yeah, you, me, or Shimano would not fit in that thing
Yeah,
at all.
That alleyway was tight.
Yes, and Tom Cruise had a chance to end her life
Yes.
with that pipe, and he chose not to, which that came back to haunt her because Gabriel says it's the probability that you're going to betray me now because he spared your life.
Yes.
And
Which
then
brings-
he stabs her, I believe, or shoots her. Which one? I don't
Tried
know.
to shoot her.
Yeah.
Oh no, he did stab her. He
Yeah.
left the knife
Yeah.
in her.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
And,
which brings up this interesting idea about like self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah.
because it's like, would she have actually betrayed him if he hadn't first
made himself
an
betrayed
enemy?
her?
Yeah.
And if you think about this idea, okay, so Gabriel probably would have won if he hadn't killed her, because she probably would have done something else and then hadn't been on the train at that moment to save Ethan and Haley Atwell's character Grace's life when they were about to fall off the train. If he hadn't left her there.
Yeah, good point.
And the keys with Ethan at that point.
Yep.
So like, he would have had to go find.
Gabriel, right?
Gabriel would have had to go find him, and yeah, that's crazy. I mean, her character's awesome. Gabriel, I don't know. I'm trying to figure him out too. Something I said to you, Justin, in the car ride back home is a scene that I wish we got, and maybe we'll get it in the second movie as like a flashback. Is I do wish that we could have seen the entity making itself known to Gabriel.
Yeah.
the entity
Like
you're
it's
recruiting.
It's
yeah.
recruitment
Yeah.
of Gabriel. Yeah, like even if
Why
he didn't
him?
even if he didn't have a voice, the entity, it would have been cool seeing
Yeah.
like how he got Gabriel's attention, how he enlisted Gabriel's services.
Yeah.
That would be really cool
Well,
to see.
I did enjoy the several scenes where people were talking about how they ended up where they were, and they were contacting electronically. They never were face to face with the buyer or the connector or
Right.
anybody. And led you to believe. I mean, obviously the entity is pulling the strings,
Pulling the
and
strings, right.
putting people in all the right places and wrong places sometimes too.
Yeah.
But especially that bridge scene was
Yeah.
leading Grace's character to the bridge scene at the wrong time. And then only to have Ilsa be there too, and
Yeah.
them have a fight. to
That
the
was
death.
a beautiful fight scene.
It was
Like-
a close combat. I'm a huge fan of close combat.
Yeah.
With the
but-
little dagger.
Yeah,
And it reminded me of like it reminded me of sort of like a less movement of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type of like fight scene.
yeah.
And just like it felt very clean in the way they were
was- it was.
moving, and yeah.
And Gabriel's character, one of the things that I have to say, like critically about Gabriel's character, dude pulls knives out from wherever,
Everywhere, yeah.
every crevice that he has.
Yeah.
And this is made very, very evident on the train scene at the end when he's fighting Tom Cruise on the rooftop of the train. And he pulls a dagger from the back of his pants. Right, he loses it somewhere along the fights, and then he pulls one out of his sleeve, like his wizard sleeve. He just like reaches in
dang
there.
magician,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
like, what the heck is this guy doing, man? And the bridge scene, he has daggers as well, and he's
Yeah.
just like reaching
Yep.
random places and pulling them out. I'm like, dude, you got to be very
Who's this guy,
skilled
Loki? Like,
to
what's he doing?
to have these daggers. And
Yeah.
imagine like holding a dagger on your wrist and like not being able to like bend your wrist or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it
Well,
was
it's kind of like a switchblade.
I mean, sure.
Well, also, I mean, truthfully, you have to be incredibly skilled and pretty ballsy to be like, you know what? I'm gonna fight this person who has a straight up sword, and I'm gonna use like a switchblade.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, that's right. Elsa had a sword, right?
Yes.
Oh my, yeah. Oh my, it was a good fight scene.
Literal
It was
sword.
a good fight scene.
It's sad for Elsa. Like she died before Ethan could get there,
Yeah.
so there was
but
never like a little moment.
I did find it. I read into the moment prior to that scene where they were on the rooftop and she kind of like hugged him a little bit. And
Sure.
like, my first time here, I kind of read into that more like they had their moment there.
Just
like,
in case
that
it goes
was-
south.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
yeah.
their goodbye.
Yeah, that was kind of their goodbye, their swan song, that kind
well,
of thing.
because he didn't want anybody there because he knows that if they're there,
Yep. Then everyone's compromised. Like
Yeah.
everybody is going to be a target.
but then
for them
Luther
to
and
get to
Benji are
him.
like, but what if that's what the entity wants you to
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
That's
Which
that's
is
the
a
thing.
rabbit hole
Listen,
that,
Yeah.
Luther had the most logical head on. To be honest with
The
you,
whole movie.
Yeah, the whole movie, and he was like, "This
Which
is
makes
what
the
the
most
entity
sense.
wanted. This is everything we're doing right now is because the entity wanted to do it, and we got to change it up. We got to do something different." Like
Which
that kind of
made the most sense because he is the most familiar with coding and the most
right. Yeah,
and the most
Computing
tech-
and everything,
Yeah,
yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
That's like so.
Yeah.
Him understanding that is just it makes sense.
yes,
you know.
I agree.
Also, side note, Luther in the airport, the whole airport scene in general,
oh yeah,
phenomenal.
It
like
was great.
everything about the airport scene, the amount of twists, the amount of turns, different people showing up, the fact that
Dude, Benji hunting down that
Benji hunted down
briefcase.
the bomb.
Yeah.
There was nothing in the bomb, but it looked like it was going to be a nuclear
the
bomb.
questions that they were asking.
Yes.
Well, even like the, idea,
riddles.
even the idea that because pretty much the entire Mission Impossible series, Ethan Hunt is the point. He's the point man.
Yeah, of course,
Like
of course.
In everything, but in that moment he wasn't.
Yeah, he was out of the
Luther
loop.
was
He out of the
running.
loop, yeah.
Like it was like one of the few times where Ethan was not in the loop of what was going on. He had no idea what was going on.
They intentionally did that,
Yes,
too.
and they intentionally did it. Like so, you got to see this little bit of a different dynamic for a moment, which was really cool to just see because it really is like it's the Tom Cruise show. Like it really is what Mission Impossible is. But it was cool to see this moment of him almost being vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, with him not being the center of the universe.
He
you
said,
know?
a nuclear bomb is something to worry me with.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So good.
And that's where we meet Grace.
Yep.
Yes.
In the airport scene. That's where we see Gabriel there.
Yeah.
We see Benji and Luther
Can I
running
just
the point.
point
I mean,
out
it was
that
just-
Grace's character being like a thief, pickpocket, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, that's a great addition to have to the team, man.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like she is so less. There's no combat. Like all the dangerous stuff. She's like, I'm just a thief.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be
Like,
a part
keep,
of this.
keep me out of that part
Yeah,
of it,
exactly.
the life, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
exactly.
when he's like, you need to put this back on them, and she's like, so maybe a put pocket. I was like, oh, that's so great, man.
Yeah,
Like, why
yeah.
not, right? Oh, so good.
How about Luther when he says goodbye because he's got to go off the grid?
Yes.
He's got to get to like a secure room that
all
he's
analog. And,
Yeah.
got. Yep.
yeah.
There's no network. There's no
Try to
nothing.
figure out where the heck this AI is. and
Yeah.
how to better help the team.
I want to see that scene. Just him
It-
working
well,
away.
we may get that. It kind of leads me to believe that we may have like Luther, his life might be in danger potentially in the next one. Like if anybody was to be threatened, and potentially could be Luther because he's intentionally attacking the entity by going off the grid. Like, so what if the entity finds him?
And
But
the
I don't think
entity
he
may,
will.
and the entity may also, but the entity may also understand that he's the most dangerous
Yes,
member
correct.
Sure.
of
Yeah.
the team.
He probably does understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Although it does raise the question again. Let's get back to the entity here. Okay. This is probably where we're going to finish up because it's just going to take some time. I feel like AI stuff. It's always hard to like. What does the entity want? Obviously, he wants the key. The entity wants the key found because the key is technically the only thing that can destroy. Like he's
destroy or control it.
Yeah.
yeah. Again, I still have this theory that like you can't control it, but
Yeah.
The key's the only thing that can destroy it. Now, if somebody found where the sub was, maybe they could just destroy the sub. But he's out in the internet. The entity is out in the cloud. You
Yeah.
know, so the key is important. So he
Yeah.
needs the key. But why? It just feels like the entity is constantly provoking Ethan for no reason.
Yeah, like intentionally attacking Ethan, right? Like that.
Yeah, like And I understand, like, you want.
There's other powers in the world, right? But like, why were you going to focus on the IMF, like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, plot armor or one thing, right? Like that's.
I mean, maybe it just has to do with like. Maybe that it is because Gabriel wants to get under.
Yeah, so you're thinking that the fact that the
Gabriel
entity
really does.
recruited Gabriel, and now
Gabriel's
Gabriel,
like, one of these two women are going to die tonight, just because,
just
you
because,
know.
yeah, because I can say, and
Yeah.
by tomorrow I will have this, like that kind of, like
Right.
speaking in absolutes, like it's all decided already, that kind of thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because the entities run all the numbers and
Yeah.
probability is so high
Yeah.
that he can say that pretty confidently.
Yeah.
I guess, but
I mean, that's 100% trusting the system, right? Like, I would not trust the numbers 100%. Like, I
No.
feel like there's maybe like a 90, 85% chance that something could go awry.
Yeah.
But he's living his life as though it's
It will
100%
be
absolute.
cool if they showed the scene where like, maybe not, where Gabriel drank the Kool-Aid. Like
That's what I'm
what?
saying.
What is
yeah,
in
that's what
like?
T-Roll was saying earlier.
Like, what is the moment that caused this? Maybe not even necessarily the moment that he recruited him, but like that he was like 100% in.
or what if we learn that there's some sort of incentive program, if you will, where Gabriel himself is doing this because the entity's got something on him.
Interesting.
The,
Possibly.
the
Very-
entity has
very
somehow
interesting.
threatened one of his family, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so he has to be menacing like this. Let's have some predictions, some speculation, because obviously this is part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The movie ends. Let's recap briefly. The amazing train scene, the whole train scene on the or on the what's it called? The
Orient Express.
Orient Express. The whole train scene's great. There's multiple different characters on it, but basically what happens on the top of the train, Ethan pickpockets the key.
Yes.
Yep.
And
He ends with up with the key. Yeah.
Gabriel falls off the train at a
Bridge.
bridge
Pretty dead ass.
at a very confident.
His watch went off and he knew to fall off.
Yeah, I just don't trust anything that much. So
Yeah.
the speed they're going, but
And
you know
he
what?
landed right comfy in a truck bed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
And he's driving away and he doesn't have the key.
he's
thinks
not
he
driving
does.
away. Someone's driving,
Someone is,
or
yeah.
the
Yeah.
entity is controlling this big truck.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the key. He freaks out. So Ethan has the key.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan's with Benji. Grace is now captured by the U.S.
Good choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's gonna fold her into the IMF now.
Gotta be.
They
Gotta
set
be.
that up
Yeah.
so clearly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get Grace in the next one. Duh. She's probably gonna join up with them on the mission, either officially or unofficially. Luther's gonna come back. What's
Hopefully
next?
have a plan. Yeah.
What happens next? In
I
this
feel like there's
movie?
got to be something else. Like Gabriel can't be the guy to hold 2 movies, right? Like there's got to be something big. I feel like, and I mean, I don't know, man. Like
Yeah.
what could they potentially add another villain, another larger than life personality villain to team up with Gabriel? Like I feel like that's coming. I do feel like we are going to get the introduction of a like final boss per se, right?
Yeah. Liam Neeson.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. That would be epic. I think that would
Or
be
to
great.
just replace Gabriel.
Yeah.
Because my theory is,
They're not happy he doesn't have the key.
well, the entity hasn't lost yet.
True. Yeah.
And and Luther threw out that the entity has figured out 2 outcomes. Either you die on the train, like Ethan dies on the train, and Gabriel gets the key, or Ethan kills Gabriel, and he has the key, but Gabriel is the only person that knows where the submarine is, so
Right.
that the entity's safe. Gabriel's still alive, and Ethan
Is still alive.
is still alive. So Gabriel's life is in danger, is what I'm trying to say. The
Interesting.
entity can kill Gabriel now without him being in. I think the next movie Gabriel's going to die, and it's not be by Ethan. I think the entity's going to find a way to take him out,
Yeah.
I can see that.
just to protect itself.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I can see that happening. I can definitely see that. Like, I feel like there is going to be another big bad in the next movie, and it may not be Gabriel. So
I don't think it will be. I think that I'm thinking back to what Luther said. It's got to be that Luther has predicted what he said is true, and I think they're going to start. The movie. It's going to begin with Luther finding. I think Luther's going to find the submarine. That's what he's going to do, in the like wherever the submarine is at in the ocean. And I think that's where we're going to start off. So,
Yeah.
Anyways, that's probably about all I got.
Yeah, it's probably a good spot to stop. So,
Excuse me.
epic movie. I cannot wait to see it again.
Great movie. You're going to see it again. Big shout out to all of our listeners, everybody who tuned in. We appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for checking out this pod. Thanks for always coming back and listening. We want to encourage you to check out the rest of our content. We're covering Secret Invasion right now, the newest Marvel show. That's kind of coming to a close here soon. And yeah, we will. Whenever Dead Reckoning Part 2 comes out, we will definitely be here to review it. So with all that in mind, from my good friends Sandy and Shamato, this is T-Roll saying thank you so much for listening to the Royal Geek Podcast. We will see you next time, you peasants.